Now the Giants signed Kelvin Benjamin from a wide receiver to a tight end. So he's going to come into that Giants offense as a tight end, which, to be honest, I think for him is probably a move that will benefit him tremendously. He didn't always get it going or wasn't able to put those complete games in. I think a lot of people thought it had to be the Cam Newton era. Interesting to see if like put him as a tight end, maybe as like a third or fourth option for Daniel Jones over there in New York. You got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. That could be an offense that surprises a lot of people and puts some things together if Kelvin Benjamin as a tight end pans out. I'll be interesting to see how he does blocking and things like that, in the run game. But I think it's clear that they're clearly bringing him in as a wide receiver threat at the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean 6'5", like 250. He's a big ass dude, and you throw him out there. What I'm curious to see is because I think he could work in that spot, and then like we talked about with Tebow, right? It's similar. I wonder if it pans out this year, right? A lot of teams in the NFL that have success, especially right now, have very good tight end play. I wonder if like you said, if that Giants offense looks good with him in that spot, do we see some guys look to make that transition? Especially as they get a little later in their career, some of these bigger wide receivers, do they look to make that transition, as they get a little older? Like if how it's a copycat league, and it's like if Kelvin Benjamin has some success at tight end, next season you might see 4 or 5 guys jump over to tight end. You've got, and some of these tight ends that got drafted are these weird hybrid guys, right? Where they can kind of they look like receivers. They'll line up in the slot. Sometimes they'll line up out like, or almost like it's like they'll line up off of the line, really. Like they'll kind of be like in these weird like gadget kind of spots, and I think teams like it. So I would not be shocked to see this become a trend.
Yeah, and take a guy that like Mercedes Lewis, who's been in the league for a long time at the tight end position, but that's not a guy that's overly big, like muscles, like obviously taller and things like that, but he's not someone who's huge. So, it really could be a thing where some of these bigger wide receivers, make that shift, especially a guy toward the end of his career that wants to play another 4 or 5 years in the league. That I think we might see that shift actually happen more and more throughout the league, which is something that is interesting. I like to see the hybrid of the NFL where, things change and like before you know it, like you have a ton of quarterbacks going in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which is something that, historically wasn't always the case, but now you've seen the change and everyone realized it in the NFL. Like, oh no, we do need a great, a franchise quarterback. So maybe with this, maybe takes a little longer because it's probably not something as noticeable. But I think if Kelvin Benjamin revitalizes his career with the Giants, it's definitely going to turn some heads in that direction. And I think you got a guy with Daniel Jones who can get him the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that will be nice.